Craig Smoak off. He'll be back Monday. I'm David Smoak with Paul Catalina. Dennis, it appears as if the last part of the dominoes has fallen with Utah, Arizona State, and Arizona. It's just a matter of time. Your thoughts about today's events, and you've been all over this from the beginning.
Yeah, you know what? It's unfortunate. As far as the Pac-12 goes, this is not the Big East in 2011. That had always been an awkward configuration because it was a basketball league that took on football and doomed itself that it missed out on getting Penn State in 1981. Big Ten got them. This is the Pac-12 is a 108-year-old conference, traditional. Keith Jackson, San Gabriel, Rose Bowl. You know, the stars go back to Jackie Robinson. I was thinking about that today. It's just a sad day. It was inevitable for some conference or another. Could have been the Big 12 easily. But for consolidation purposes, the Pac-12 is dead. There is no Power 5. It's probably a Power 2 or 4 major conferences. That's probably a Power 2.
Dennis, what do you think was obviously it was the money, but when was the moment that Utah and Arizona State realized that it was over?
It was a cascading series of events. It was two novice commissioners that failed to deliver on media rights deals. Larry Scott, you know, had he allowed Texas into the league with the Longhorn Network, maybe we're not having this discussion. The Pac-12 network was an absolute disaster. George Kayabkoff, as good as he was, had never done a media rights deal. He employed a consultant, Sports Media Partners out of Southern California, that had never done a media rights deal. And the money that Brett Yormark got on October 30th in their deal had been on the table for the Pac-12, and they rejected it. So, you know, that's on them. And then it became, you know, easier, where Brett Yormark, he's an aggressive guy. He talked those schools into coming over. Colorado was the first piece, and they were the easiest because they'd been in the league for 63 years. So the people there kind of knew what it looked like. And then as I'll tell you what spurred this right now, and I'm writing about it as we speak. The reason this is going to happen, and it had to happen by 2024 in the big picture, that's when the bidding will start on the new expanded playoff for 2026. And those rights holders who basically caused this disruption had to know where those teams were going to be before they bid on it. And that sounds crass and craven, but it's almost as simple as that.
Dennis, does this happen with Utah and Arizona State if today's news with Oregon and Washington doesn't happen?
I think that's the big picture. And again, I'm waiting till this is done to write about that. No one wanted to be the one that pulled the thread, whether it was Fox, whether it was Oregon or Washington, whether it was Arizona. And after Arizona did, or, the Big 12 voted them in last night, then the next step would have been for them to accept. But it's really weird, Smoak, because it's written as unethical as all this sounds in realignment. There's some sort of protocol or ethics. Nobody wants to be perceived as the one that kills the conflict. And so when Oregon and Washington did it together, nobody can blame either one. Arizona had done it the night before, then it became a little bit easier. But that is so weird about this protocol, that these powerful entities don't want to be the first one to pull the thread and unravel a conflict.
Yeah, Dennis, it's kind of like The Sopranos, where everybody, they're all bad dudes, but you oh, well, I mean, I'm not going to do that. That's beyond the pale.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, no. There's some ethics here among this. So for the Big 12 to wind up at 16 teams, and they've got obviously things to work out, which clearly I guess they probably feel confident in. Do you think that Brett Yormark intended to stay at 14, thinking that maybe they would get a deal once he got to that, or was he ready to go to 16 at any point?
I think he told me multiple times that he wanted to stay at 14. I think, and I got to take him at his word, because at that point he was creating competition. Hey, there's only one hole left. What are you guys going to do? Just to make sure he got a team. It's like if Arizona had any hesitancy, hey, it's now or never. At the last minute, it sounded like they did have hesitancy. But as things progressed, my question was, did he have the money for three more? And apparently he does. I don't know if it's ESPN and Fox. I don't know if it's a line of credit. I don't know if it's private equity. But apparently he's got the money to fund them at a full share. And look, the choice for the Pac-12 schools became, $20 million per year, maybe selling subscriptions door to door. That's the first thing I thought of when that deal came out. My Girl Scout cookies. Hey, you get a new bike at the end of the summer if you sell enough cookies for enough subscription. It's unprecedented and puts so much on the school. Or you can have this $32 million of security for at least 6 years if you determine the Big 12 BS. And then what people aren't thinking about is really advantageous. You've got SEC with 16, Big 10 with 18 at least, Big 12 with theoretically 16. All their deals come to market at the same time, around 20, 30, and 31. And that's going to be great for the Big 12 as all those deals come to market. It'll have that time to prove itself as being maybe that number 3 conference, which is really what this is all about, if and when we have the big disaster.
So, Dennis, what happens, whatever happens eventually when it's official with Utah, Arizona State, and Arizona, what, in your opinion, is going to happen with those remaining in the Pac-12? And, what do they do? What is next for them?
Well, I was told by someone, making that decision that that Stanford and Cal, the West Coast, Bay Area market isn't desired. It's overrated as a market. Those schools have a lack of interest problem. I looked it up. Stanford averages less than 30,000. Cal has been down year over year for the last 5 years, in an era, by the way, when we had our first college football overall attendance increase in 11 years. And I'm not kidding anybody. I think we know that football at those two schools isn't that great in the best of times. So I think they're out. Stanford's got the option of going independent. I don't know what happens to Cal. I think right now, as we sit here, it's a bidding war between the Mountain West and the Americans for Oregon State and Washington State.
Dennis, I know you're flying. I know it's been a busy day, and you have been on top of this. We completely appreciate your time and also the fact you did this in between flights. So great job being a part of it. Thank you for your time. And then we're having Dr. Livingstone on here in a minute. Maybe get some more questions answered. And good luck with what you have the rest of the weekend.
Yeah, tape that and technically send it to me. Yeah, I want to hear her.
We'll send the segment to you when it's up and ready to go. Emery, you hear that? Appreciate you. Send this to Dennis Dodd when we're done with our next segment, which we